Hello, people of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Sunday to you all. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. That is a sentence I don't typically say because I don't record on Sundays usually. But we have MPs and content that we need to catch up on thanks to a little technical difficulty moment last week. This is one of those said releases. This is BLACKSWAN and their most recent title track titled Karma. Now, I am a big fan of the Nugu scene when it comes to K-pop. It's like Nugu girl groups, Nugu boy groups, doesn't really matter. I love finding hidden diamonds in the rough through groups that maybe aren't as well known as people want them to be, or as they... You get the whole point. The whole like Nugu culture I find very interesting. And this group, BLACKSWAN, are always a name that pop up in Nugu circles. Yet, I've never been able to experience a comeback or a release from them. Until today, their most recent lineup, we've also found out that they've had numerous lineup changes over the past, but this most recent iteration of BLACKSWAN have had a comeback. They have a release, they have an MV, and I'm very excited to learn some things. So, here we go. Now, I should preface, I don't know that much about this group. I really don't know that much about this group. What I do know is that this current iteration of BLACKSWAN and its 4 members are fielding an entire lineup of artists not from East Asia, so not from China, from Taiwan, from Japan, or Korea, which I find very interesting, and I find very cool. It's very rare, very unique of them. I don't think really anyone else can say that they're tackling the K-pop world with a lineup that really doesn't feel like there should be any connection with Korea and East Asia on the surface. But you look into it, these are all just passionate artists who love K-pop and want to get involved, and now they're involved with it. And I think that's such a cool story that they have. But here we go, BLACKSWAN's Karma. Apologies if volume EQing is a little bit wonky. I'm gonna try my best.
What you like?
Oh, nice sequence of melodies there. Okay. Why does this song go really hard? Hold on. Oh my. Hey yo, that beat drop is nuts. I love that the song is written in a key that's very reminiscent of the traditional instrumentations of Indian culture? Or at least that region of Asia. Very cool. Very nice detail. So this pre-chorus is something special. Even in this chorus, when you have that dun, 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 it's still maintaining that, what's that scale called? Harmonic minor? That, like, music from this region of the world is typically written in. I love that. Little dance interlude? Okay. Also, can we talk about this MV and how well it's shot? Whoa! Scale switch. It all of a sudden switches into this really Western vibe. Not necessarily. Bring it back one time. That I don't think so far. I think is really clever. I'll talk about it in a minute. Why did that song go so hard? Oh my god. 2 words. That, well, I guess 1 compound word, and or abbreviated, whatever. That's nuts. Whoa, okay. I feel like I've just had my musical mind blown by this. Because I did not know what I was getting myself into. But there were so many parts of that song that I absolutely love. I kind of want to just talk about it. I want to listen to it again, but I don't have the time to do that. But it's very clever how this song's been written. I am a sucker for when composers and arrangers bring in traditional elements into music. It doesn't matter what part of the world the traditional instrumentation is from. It can be East Asian, it can be Middle Eastern, it could be Eastern European, Western European, it can be Scandinavian, African, it doesn't matter. I love the just very particular texture and sound signature that traditional instruments bring into a pop song, because it's something that can't really be replicated with synthesizers and fake instruments. What Karma does is go one step beyond that, not just use traditional instrumentation, but write the song in a key that is written with the traditional instrumentations in mind. Like the entire song, apart from the bridge, which is in a very Western sounding scale, is written very much in the musical scale that you would find from this region of the earth. And they've held on to that musical motif for pretty much the entirety of the song. This is a song that is supposed to be reminiscent of this region of the world. I'm guessing it is Indian Peninsula, that region. My geography is not great. I'm also not very well versed in global culture. I took an anthropology class in college, but that's about my limits. So I sincerely apologize if I've said the wrong nation and things like that. But this is so extremely clever. I just want to go back. Let's go back to the beginning. Just go through the first chorus. And then I want to talk about the bridge afterwards. So here we go. Actually, you know what? As to not offend anybody moving forward, I'm going to take a couple minutes to actually read up on this video. So give me 2 seconds. We'll be back at the beginning of the video in a minute. Okay. This is Indian. Specific region, I think, what was it? Odisha? And they have a member that is from this region as well? That's very cool. That must be so cool. There's an inherent level of like homegrown pride when you see someone from your part of the world kind of, you know, showcase what their part of the world has to offer. And I find that really cool. So shout out the team behind this project, man. That's really cool. But the song itself, here we go. Also, it's the song in conjunction with the MV, because it's showcasing all of like the glamour and splendor of the region, but also like maybe it's not showing it in like this through rose-tinted glasses. It's showing it kind of how you would see it, which I really appreciate. But this opening is so mysterious. You don't really know what the song is going to be. then already, so you've got this kind of almost trap type beat, but it's overlaid.
Show me what you like.
It's overlaid with this very regional sounding but modernized musical beat on top of a very modern like synth percussion beat. That's a combination you don't really get unless you go looking for it. And already off the rip, this is a way that they're kind of bringing this part of the world into the South Korean music scene. I think that's so cool. And it's also a really nice way to start the song. It's got a lot of energy behind it. You can already feel the energy building up within you as you're listening to it. Oh yeah, let's keep her going. Wild. Her tone is so low, and it provides such a nice contrast. Interestingly enough, the song actually gets like, it starts off in the middle, goes a little bit higher, but then it goes lower. Typically, you'd expect the song to continue to get higher and higher in terms of the vocal scale as the song builds. They've toyed around with that formula a little bit. Tasty stuff. And then this really, we got the like brassy sections that come in, this kind of grandiose like early flourish in the pre-chorus, and then there's that harmonic minor scale that's typical for this region coming in with the instrumental part of the chorus. And it's not just it's again that combination of the regional sounding musical scale and that modern like dance trap type beat. I am not familiar with the Indian music scene at all, so I don't know what like Indian pop music or like Indian like EDM type music would be. So this might be very similar to what regional music is, like the modern musical style is like right now. I don't know. I don't really listen to anything outside of like my little circles of music that I listen to. But this is packaging it in a way where it's not just regional music based off of like Indian influences. This is very much a modern, almost girl crushy type pop song that's marketed as a K-pop song with Indian influences. And they're really riding on that point of bringing in like the influences of this region musically, but they're not overdoing it. It's a really nice balance between that modern like dance trap music and the regional Indian music. And it's such a nice harmonious combination of the two that as someone who takes a keen interest in both of those subgenres of music, oh, it's really good. And then where's that bridge? It's gonna take. I reckon it's gonna take a little second to load because my internet is being very spotty today. But this little interlude is very important. Because you still have the elements of the harmonic minor scale there. And then, also, before we move on to the proper bridge, the colors in this video, oh, spectacular. It is such a visually pleasing MV to watch. But, yes, it's the transition from the kind of traditional scale into this all of a sudden just full-out Western pop sound. Or even Eastern pop. It could be. It's not music that you'd expect coming out from like this region of the world, and it's that contrast that really makes a point, because it makes the listener's ear go, "Wait a minute, something is different here. What just happened?" And it gets listeners' attention back again. And it's the contrast of this non-Indian sounding music with the visuals of Indian culture. It's that, again, that contrast. Human nature, contrast will always create focus. No matter what human sense it's targeting, a contrast will always bring the attention of a human. This is exactly what it's doing. It's getting the listener ready for what is going to be the final chorus by providing a contrast between the musical style and the visuals that are happening on screen. Really cool. And it feels like a normal pop song until this specific held note, because this is not a note that would typically be in a pop song scale. This is not a note you would typically get.
I don't think so.
And then we're back into the original. And this chorus beat goes so hard. It's that heavy brass element. Again, in the musical scale of this region. Yeah, that's nuts. This was a long one in terms of me talking about it, but this, for me, might have been one of the most enjoyable releases to talk about. I don't know where I would put it in terms of like song itself, like where I would put it, but in terms of being able to talk about the music involved with it, there's just so much I would love to talk about, and there's so much that I love about the composition behind this song. And I could go on forever and talk about this, because it's just so clever what they've done with this. It's not just little bits and pieces. They've incorporated traditional instrumentation in a way that not many people will want to challenge. Because the thing with like regional sampling and things like that is, especially in this day and age, in the era of SNS, social media and things like that, there is a very, very fine line between cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation. Two very different words. And that line is very much different based off of who is giving that judgment. For me, admittedly, as someone who's not from that region of the earth, that doesn't really know or is familiar with that region, with this region of the earth that this song is taking influence from and what the MV is portrayed, I didn't feel for a singular moment that they were pulling influence from India in a way where they were taking it for the sake of taking it. There was really careful thought and consideration put into the writing behind this song. Because without it, you could not get a final product that sounds this cohesive. And one, I appreciate the living daylights out of the music team behind this group and behind this song, because they have taken a big gamble with going this direction, and I think they pulled it off with flying colors. But two, I love the fact that there is a member within this group that got to celebrate this kind of like coming together of two different genres. Because that must be so cool for them to be able to perform, like, they're bringing their part of their world into the Korean music scene. That must be such a cool feeling to have. And hopefully this song gets a lot of love and attention that it deserves, because this is really cool. I really like this one a lot. But that is it from me today. Thank you all for listening to my extensive TED Talk on one song. This has been a good time. But hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. Lord knows I enjoyed it a lot. One last request from me today: let us work together as a community to bring a little bit of extra love and happiness back into the world, whether it be checking in with your friends and family, holding the door open for somebody, picking up a piece of trash off the street. One act of kindness that may brighten up someone else's day to day. And know that wherever you are in the world, should you ever be going through a tough time in your life for whatever reason it may be, even though I'm just some guy on the internet who waffles about music in his free time, and well, as you can see, I waffle a lot about music, know that I will always be a friend, an ally, and a shoulder to lean on whenever you need me. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, spread the love. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.